Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, most of you do know me. Jeff Langhelm, City of Gig Harbor Public Works Director. I have deep ties to this community. My grandmother was born in Rosedale. My dad and his family built a house in Rosedale, and my dad and his brother still live in Rosedale. And I have moved back here after going to the University of Washington. Go Dogs! And I've been with the city for 17 years now. So been with us been since I was hired under the direction of Mark back there. So thank you, Mark. So yeah, I'm in public works. I started as an associate engineer, worked my way up to public works director. Sorry, yeah, I can't find my cursor now. There it is. And I just wanted to start by going over what public works is, because a lot of people hear public works, and public works means different things in different jurisdictions. So I just wanted to go over what public works means for Gig Harbor, and then go into a little bit of the projects we're working on, our operations group, and then just some other things that we've been working on. That some of them are available to the public, some of them are just for internal use, but it kind of talks about what we do. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is kind of hard to see, I understand. But when I started in this position, people kept asking, they kept getting public works, planning, building, community development confused. And I can understand why. So I created this functions map that kind of shows what public works does. And the divisions are basically in blue. That's the divisions and the people. So we've got public works is in the center of the spoke, and we've got to the north up, we've got engineering division. That's our city engineer leads that group. And then to the right, to the east, that's wastewater division. Our wastewater superintendent leads that group, Chuck Roy. And then to the south, our operations division, public works superintendent led by Jeff Olson for that group, all of our operations. And then in 2016, we added a parks program. Parks was just always contained within public works, and we didn't have enough to keep that person very busy or to keep a full position. We finally in 2016 had a position, and now we have a parks program and a parks manager, program manager, and that's Jennifer Harrow. So engineering, they do a lot. You can see out there, I won't read everything, but primary duties of engineering is to do uh, development review in the public right of way. So any private project that comes into the city, they need to meet our public works standards. They need to connect to our utilities in certain ways, and public works reviews and manages all of those. And then we get into the capital project. So any capital project on any facility, whether that's something streets, parks, water, wastewater, stormwater, our facilities, our buildings, all of that, all those capital projects you see, large capital projects that we're rebuilding something or we're building something from brand new, those are all managed, the design through Public Works, and the construction is managed through Public Works, and then it's handed off to our operations division. Operations, I'll just jump to them. They operate and maintain almost every facility that the city owns. That's buildings, our stormwater, our streets, fleets, all the vehicles are maintained by our operations, our water system, our parks, and all of our utility billing. That's all within our operations division. And then the one that part that they don't operate and maintain is wastewater. That's a lot more specialized. That's we have our own separate wastewater operations group. They do collections, so all the pipes, all the pump stations, and then they do the treatment plant, and they manage all the outfall. So it's quite a network, quite a network. And then our parks, that's again the program that we just started in 2016. Um, that position takes care of all of our master planning, all of our development of any programs we might have. And then once we get to a phase where a master plan has been completed, then they hand that off to engineering to build whatever the council elects to fund for capital projects. So there's a lot of other things in there. You can see GIS. You're going to see a lot here of what our GIS program looks like. I came from Thurston County back in 2000 era, and Thurston County had a lot of GIS back then. And when I started here, we didn't have a lot. When I got into the public works director position, I brought on somebody after one person retired. I brought on a GIS coordinator, and his name's Mike Simmons. He's been doing great. And so Everything you see that I say is GIS, Esri type work, that's thanks to Mike Simmons and his talents to make it happen. But we do a lot of other things that are under the radar: property acquisition, utility extension agreements when water sewers want to connect to outside the city limits. All of our right-of-way franchise agreements, we deal with all of that. And then rate studies, we're going through a rate study right now. We manage all of those rate studies. But there's a lot. There's a lot there. So any questions on functions or what we do? I actually, this is printed up on our board. We've had a lot of new people start in the city in the past year, and we decided to print this up so we can say this is what we do. If you want to know who you talk to, look at this. So let's stop sharing this. Go into the next slide. So we do have a total of I'll just pause for a second. So we do have a total of, in Public Works, about 59 full-time employees plus 10 seasonal workers. So that's up by quite a bit since I started in 2006. But we have a lot to manage, a lot to maintain. You can imagine what it looked like in the city in 2006 and then how much we've grown. I think the population is about doubled, and our facilities have more than doubled because of all the annexations and development. So once a developer comes in, they build, let's just give the example of everything in Gig Harbor North, all that infrastructure, almost all was paid for by developers. And then once they develop it, all those roadways, the roundabouts, the lighting systems, the water system, sewer system, the tank that was built for Gig Harbor North, all of that gets handed over to Public Works to operate and maintain. So instantly in those types of instantly and over the course of a decade we can easily almost double our infrastructure, and so it takes a lot of people to operate, maintain, and keep that up to speed. So that's our operation, or that's how we do our work. I'm going to jump into capital projects next. And again, this what we've done, one thing that we've realized is that when we go out and we are trying to communicate with people about what's coming down the pipe, it's very difficult at times to be able to make sure that we capture everybody. We are always trying new and better ways to communicate with people, because that now there's even every day there's a new way to communicate with people. So the latest, what we've tried to focus on, and this is what we call our capital improvement project story map. Story map is a name that's provided by Esri, the company that creates a lot of GIS software. They have this template that we can use, and we have here that's essentially a mixture of a presentation slide, a web page, and GIS information. And so we've created that for our projects. And then we routinely get together as staff and update these every week or so. And this is available to the public. It's available to the council. I review this with the city council about once a month, every other month, and then answer questions. And it just gives a constant update of where we are with everything that's going on. And so if you ever have questions, you can just if you go right to the City of Gig Harbor's webpage, and you either click on a search for capital projects or active projects, it will bring you to this. And this is actually embedded within that web page. So I have it separately here, which you can also click on and do yourself. But so I was just going to run through this really quick. If you see a project that sparks your interest and you have more questions about it, please just raise your hand. I have no problem getting into the details. I am an engineer by trade and I love details. So I'll just scroll down. The way this works, it's like I said, it's just a web page, and what you'll see is there's an active interactive map on the right side. On the left side, it gives a quick summary of our projects. We do have an updated date, so you can see how long it's been since we've updated it. And you can either, when you scroll down here, you can just see that quick summary and then keep scrolling. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one project. It's going to highlight that project on the left, and it's also going to highlight the project on the right. Oh, why is it doing that? Okay, well, I'm not sure why my computer is. Let me do this instead here. There we go. I must have clicked it twice and didn't know it. So what it's done is it has increased the amount of information on the left, and it zoomed into the location of where the project limits are. You guys all know this one probably, the chamber building. We have essentially completed all of our work. Um, and now we have a brand new roof there. We have a new insulation in that roof, and we have a brand new HVAC system. Yeah. So, yeah. So that project it was budgeted $100,000. It was a little over that, but that one checked that off the list. Hopefully that'll be good for the next 15, 20, 30 years. And so what you do with this is you can just keep scrolling. Here's another new building that we're in the process of constructing, our new Public Works Operations Center. This is a 5,500 square foot building. It is, and I can get over here to the right and zoom in a little bit. But if you are familiar with Pioneer Elementary, this is our property immediately to the north of that. That's our new Public Works Operations Center. Just to the north of that is 89th. The aerial photo is a little out of date. You know that there's a lot of warehouse storage there now. This is our existing Public Works shop. It's a bunch of steel buildings, and we have all of those 59 people in this little tiny north corner of the room. This is all that we have. We have 2 bathrooms for 59 people. Or for 35 people. I gave you the whole public works staff. That's for 35 people in the operation. So this new facility has been in the works for many years. It was bounced back and forth about ideas. It went from 8,800 square feet down to 3,000 square feet, back up to 5,000 square feet, and then we looked at moving it to a whole nother facility. And then we finally came back to this, and here we are. We did a site development, which you can kind of see in the background. This is also our well number 11 right here, tucked in the woods. So we've put a lot on this little facility, and the picture on the left is the construction as it was last week. So we are making good progress. Pease and Sons, the contractor, had great working relationship with them. But you can see all the status updates. Here's what we've done and where we're going. So yes, yes.
Where's the fuel tanks?
Fuel tank. So yes, so that's one thing that our staff is proposing right now. We get all of our fuel from various locations, the gas stations throughout the city. We're proposing to put above ground fuel storage tanks here so that during emergency operations, we will always have fuel. This is where we're planning to put it, right there on the existing shop site.
The proposal, if I'm remembering, is roughly a grand total of 3,000 gallons.
Can you repeat the question? They can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. The question was, where on this site is the proposed fuel storage for our operations center? And so that is this location right here. And then the question was, there's 3,000 gallons total. Yes. And I think it's about 1,000 gallons of diesel and 2,000 gallons uh, of unleaded fuel. I think is roughly that ratio. And then, well, it would be covered. Anything?
There is the possibility of making a larger.
Is it possible? Is a possibility to make it larger tanks? The question. It is. It just gets a lot more expensive. There's a lot that's going into this fuel dispensers. There's a lot of technology we have. Not only are we looking at having some some clean diesel. I don't want to get into that. That's a whole nother topic. But some diesel that Peninsula Light Company uses. That is, it's not petroleum based. And so it's more expensive right now because it gets shipped from out of state. And then also the whole system that it works with, it reduces the ability for anyone to just come up and back their car in, get fuel and move away. It has all these electronic sensors built into it. So where the dispenser will not dispense fuel until it recognizes that vehicle is the correct vehicle. And then it downloads all the maintenance data. And I'm going to go into that next. There's another tab here. For our maintenance system, it will download all that information to for each vehicle every time it's refueled. So, yeah. I'll just quickly peruse through these. Sports complex phase 1B, that one's progressing along really well. We hope to have all our land use permits very soon. In fact, it probably says on here, if I keep scrolling, on schedule to go out to bid at the end of 2023. And then Crescent Creek Park Master Plan. You can see my map on the right has zoomed over to that area. This is another project that's a long time coming. Council, we were hard and fast into this project, and then council Heard from a group of citizens that said they wanted to save the Masonic Lodge, because the question came up of whether we're going to save the Masonic Lodge or not. And there was an interest in the Masonic Lodge is actually right here in this photo. There was interest by the council. They were leaning towards demolished so that when we did the master planning, we would consider the park without the Masonic Lodge. And said, no, we want to look at options to keep it. And so we've paused this master planning process, waiting for that group to come back and see what they find. I'm gonna keep scrolling, but you might notice every once in a while there's more information. These are live web links. So if I was to click on this, it would actually go to the web page that shows our master plan on our web page and talks more about it there. So just keep that in mind. If you are looking at this and you do see those links at the bottom, feel free to go back to that and click on those, and you can get a lot more information about the project itself. Keep going, Scansy Net Shed. That's some structural improvements and re-roofing. It's been needed that for quite a while. We had to wait for the creation of a historic preservation commission that the city created. We used to go to the design review board for those types of things. And then but the city decided to create this historic preservation commission, so we had to wait for that. So we are now on their schedule for next week. Commercial fishing home port, that's down at Ansage Park. That would extend finger floats off of the existing pier that is there. 17 slips for vessels from 45 foot to 80 foot. Most of the vessels will be 60 foot. We are just struggling to get through all of the necessary permitting that's required for the federal government. We are waiting to talk to National Marine Fisheries and U.S. Army Corps, but we're having discussion with City Council at a study session about the commercial fishermen's donation and a few other things related to the commercial fishing operations next Thursday at the study session. So more to come on that. And then sports complex phase 2 and 3, we're back up to Gig Harbor North in the sports complex. So this is the next phase. This is not in design. We're just doing feasibility study to hone in on exactly what the concept of the site will look like. We did a master planning process for the entire sports complex in 2018. It just kind of laid out some generic locations of the sports complex and some sports fields and some ideas. This gets down into the nitty gritty. If I was to click on this here, in fact, I think it'll come up. Yeah, it's really hard to see, but these are two options that the council has asked our consultant to go back, refine, and get some detailed cost estimates. Long and short of it is we're talking about taking the phase 2 area, which is the Little League fields, rehabilitating those fields, making them synthetic turf instead of natural turf. And then on the opposite side, what is currently a treed lot that the city owns, was given to us through a development agreement. That is we're looking to have that to be 2 large synthetic turf lit fields. And so the questions come in about how much is this going to cost? What's the exact details are we going to have for these facilities? How are they going to be laid out? And then what is the timing? Because we don't have to do both these at the same time. We could. So anyway, that's that process. Yes.
For that am I seeing on the right field, the 2 field thing, is that also baseball?
Yes. There is a baseball diamond in here. So we were told we have a group of stakeholders that we meet with. That's right here. If you can see my cursor, the stakeholders have told us that the school district doesn't have a field that fits the varsity high school baseball team. They're too small of fields that they have currently. And so the sports group has asked us to build into this facility just that, a sports field that fits high school varsity baseball. And so that's what that would be. Yes.
And Jeff, I see notice I've been following this work in this design. The modern artificial turf fields incorporates baseball, soccer, lacrosse, all those dimensions can be done on one complex like that, which is really super cool. But on the baseball side of it, in the discussions you've been involved in, have they mentioned dugouts, either portable or fixed dugouts for the baseball part of it, because dugouts are really important for baseball? The
question was, have dugouts been included in the part of the discussion for baseball for these fields? They have been discussed. To what extent, I'm not sure, but I know that they have been discussed and they've been talked about how they could fit into just that option on the top right. Yeah. Okay. All right, that's that one. I'm just gonna keep scrolling. North Creek Culvert Replacement Project down off Donkey Creek. This is the next culvert in line on Donkey Creek. We use North Creek in all of our project documents because officially, per the State Department of Fish and Wildlife and the federal government, they know it as North Creek. So Donkey Creek is also North Creek. Very expensive project. The construction timeline on that is hopeful construction in 25 and 26. Um, but it's about an $8 million construction cost right now. We applied for a $4 million grant in February. We did not receive that grant from the federal government. We're reapplying again this February. We have time. And then we also have another federal grant we're going to apply for next October. So got a few chances to get that funding. The rest of the $4 million, the remaining $4 million would be from city stormwater funds. Burnham Drive half-width improvements. This one, hopefully, we're just waiting on two things. One, also approval from the federal government, Army Corps. But it would take you can kind of see, I scrolled past already, the Burnham Drive from essentially where the Eagles is north to, there's a storage unit just across from 96th Street, would put a 10-foot wide shared use path on the east side, the right side as you're going north. And then it would also replace a culvert. It's not shown specifically on here, but there's a culvert here, right here, that has failed. It is considered by Department of Fish and Wildlife a partial fish blockage, so we have to make it fish passable. We're going to build a bridge there to make it fish passable. So that project, as soon as we get our permits and one final outstanding easement, then we will be under construction. We hope to be out to bid with that this year and be under construction first part of next year. Essentially, they're going to be taking that project and they're going to be building, like you see on Highway 16, they're going to be building one half the bridge, move traffic over to that one half the bridge, build the other half, move traffic back, and then we'll have traffic on one side and pedestrians on the other. Harbor History Museum driveway entrance, that's something we've been working on for quite a while, just trying to fix a very sharp vertical curve on the entrance to that buses and very low riding cars tend to bottom out there. And then this is great project. We did a mid-block, this is our own operations crew. They do these mid-block crossings where we have funding to do it. The council can identify a few locations and they've done about one a year recently. We did one in Gig Harbor North right before the school, so Swiftwater Elementary opened in a residential neighborhood. We put one of these. It's not just a crosswalk, but it also has our rapid flashing beacons installed. That's what the RRFB stands for, Rapid Rectangular Flashing Beacons. So that's our crew working at that. This was at 50th, right across from our Veterans Park, where there's also a senior facility right over there. And then Prentice Fenimore, this project was homegrown. It was a project that a lot of the neighbors said that there was concerns. There's no sidewalks connecting Peacock Hill or the residences to the north to Harbor Ridge Middle School. And so we are in the middle of design on that sidewalk. On one side, it'll be essentially the uphill side. It's kind of hard to tell, but it'll be the uphill side. We're putting a crosswalk at Peacock, sidewalk along Fenimore, another crosswalk, and then sidewalks all the way over to the entrance to Harbor Ridge Middle School. So that project is in design and we'll be hopefully going out to bid either later this year or first part of next year. That picture's a little blurry. 38th Avenue, half-width improvements, similar to the Burnham Drive project. We are putting sidewalks on the east side of 38th Avenue from 56th all the way up to Hunt. So you can kind of see it on my screen here. I'll zoom out a little bit. Yeah, the aerial photo goes away. Here's 56. We're putting sidewalks all the way up to Hunt Street on the east side of that road. So that project has been a long time in the making. This is phase 2 of essentially a 4-phase project. Last year we did phase 1A, which put sidewalks in from Briarwood. I'm just going to zoom down there. We put sidewalks in last year from Briarwood here on the east side all the way up to the city-county line. And then right here, as you probably know, is Goodman Middle School and Harbor Heights Elementary. And so that was phase 1A. And then phase 1B is from Briarwood to 50th, and phase 1C is from 50th to 56th, and phase 2 is from 56th up to Hunt Street. So making some good progress, but these projects have been, this whole series have been on the book since before I started. So we're finally getting some funds to do this, and seems to be making most residents happy. Yes, Mark. Are any of the funds safe streets? No, we applied for some of those. Unfortunately, in order to score high in safe streets, you have to have accidents. You have to show that it's unsafe. And the way you show it's unsafe in scoring purposes is to show that you've had accidents. We haven't shown that we have accidents. So we yeah, some actors. There you go. That's how you make it. So that's that project. But again, we hope to be out to bid with this one in early next year. Wallachet Drive right turn lane. We received some state funding for this project. This is mostly in the city's right of way. You can kind of see it's a really rough sketch. We don't have much to go on right now, but when you're on Pioneer Way, aka Wallachet Drive, and you're heading north, as you get toward the on-ramp for westbound Highway 16, this would add a right turn lane, a dedicated right turn lane, because our numbers show that there's a lot of people that come up Wallachet and want to get on westbound Highway 16. And so one of the limitations of that light that backs traffic up all the way across to Waterfall Landscaping and Wagner Way is because there are a lot of people just waiting to turn right, and they're stuck at that intersection. As soon as one person gets a red and is going straight, nobody else can go right and get on the highway. So that would hopefully alleviate this. There was a little glitch in the funding. We received quite a few, $1.68 million from the state for this and for the other one you see on the other side of this, the on-ramp. But the state, when it was passed by the Senate, it got allocated into WashDOT funds instead of city funds. So we've got to get that figured out. Bouncing over Olympic Drive, speaking of right turn lanes, a few years ago, we put a right turn lane, was essentially the chevron right there in front of the chevron, made it really short, but that was mitigation for when Fred Meyer and all of this Table 47 and everything else went in there. That was the mitigation, part of the mitigation for that. Now we have realized in doing some traffic modeling that we could have bigger benefits to that Point Fosdick Olympic intersection if we extend that right turn lane along the frontage of what is now Metropolitan Market. So that's what that's going to do, however, is once we add another little travel lane through there, if you're ever on Olympic Drive westbound and you try and turn left into Met Market, or you're in Met Market, you try and turn left to head west on Olympic, there's a lot of conflicts is what we call them. So right now there's 3 lanes of conflict if you're to turn left either way, and a pedestrian route. Or sorry, 2 lanes. We're going to add another lane. We're going to add a whole another level of conflict. So we're going to probably limit and restrict left turns in and out of Metropolitan Market. So that's on our radar. That's what we're working on and just doing some reports right now. This is something else. This is a ramp metering at Burnham Drive. Before we built Harbor Hill Drive extension and brought it down to Burnham Drive and put the roundabout at Burnham Drive, we were seeing some pretty heavy traffic, some low levels of service, level of service E, and so on, at the big roundabout on the east side of Highway 16. One of the solutions that we had that we've been talking about since just about St. Anthony Hospital went in was to meter that roundabout, which would, and if you haven't seen roundabout metering, if you just Google roundabout metering or even WashDOT roundabout metering, it will take you to a great video that WashDOT created about roundabout metering in Eastern Washington, Richland area. But essentially what it is that you have a meter instead of on an on-ramp, you have a meter on one of the legs entering the roundabout so that it creates more gaps. We found that when you are entering the roundabout, there's a steady stream of traffic heading eastbound on Burnham Drive into that roundabout. That steady stream of traffic doesn't allow enough gaps for the off-ramp to clear or Burnham Drive to enter or even Morgan Boulevard to enter. So the roundabout metering would stop traffic, create those gaps, and then just let it meter into the roundabout. And the theory is that will allow the roundabout to have a higher capacity. We proposed this back in 2008 or so. I don't know, Mark, if you remember, it was before that, but um, it was uh, it was thought that that would be an impossible solution to this, but we pushed it. WashDOT, we talked to WashDOT about it. They said, "Hey, let's try it over in Richland." So they've tried it. They say it's successful. So we said, "Okay, let's do it." And then we did some traffic studies recently, and we found that our Harbor Hill Drive project pulled so much traffic off of this roundabout that right now we don't need to do it. So we just saved ourselves, I think it was a $750,000. The study was 75, but I think the whole project was about $750,000. And so right now, the level of service has improved. So we're going to hold off on that. We're keeping that in our back pocket for later. So that one's actually going to go off this very soon. Here's the other project that's right there at the Highway 16 Wallachet Drive. This is for the off ramp. This is something we've tried to talk to WashDOT about doing. It's technically not our issue, but it improves our intersection at the signal at their on ramp, off ramp for eastbound 16. This would create separated right and left turn lanes as you get off that off ramp. Right now, people use the shoulder and they squeeze over there. It's technically not legal and it's not safe. So what our project would do, it would improve the overall level of service of that intersection by making separated right and left turn lanes. So that's that project. And again, we have some, if we can get it out of the back from WashDOT, we have funding to do that project now. Electric vehicle charging stations. This is something we've just embarked on. We have a couple of electric vehicle charging stations around town. We're working now with we're at, in fact, Miriam, I don't know, have you received a request to meet with us about this yet? You will be receiving one from our new associate engineer, Chloe. We're going to meet with we want to meet with the chamber. We want to meet Downtown Waterfront Alliance to start and focus on where in the city we need electric vehicle charging stations that are in public right of way. We have 4 ports right now. We want to increase that by at least another 10. And we're focusing right now in the downtown area. And then we're going to go out from there. Out beyond downtown, there's not as much public parking, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. Most of it's all on private property. So we're not allowed to use city funds to install EV charging stations on private property. So where we have the most public parking is downtown. So that's why we're focused on that. But that's coming and we're applying for grants. That's what this study is going to help us do, is apply for grants. Wastewater treatment plant. This project is some improvements to our centrifuge. It's one of the processes we use, key process, treatment plant. I won't go into it. There's a lot of detail about how we have to do some nutrient upgrades to our treatment plant based on a brand new permit that Ecology has issued. We have just completed some of that study, and then we're going to move forward with that project to improve the process. Emergency water intertie in Kenwood Boulevard. This is just to provide us a redundant source of water because we don't have a well in Gig Harbor North yet. All of the water that goes to Gig Harbor North comes from wells on the west side and the south side of town. And so we want to be able to create some redundancy in our system. This will help us, and it's just an emergency if we have to open it. Soundview Drive water main project. This project is much of the length of Soundview Drive. It includes all the way up to Olympic Drive, Hollycroft, and I'll zoom out a little bit, but it goes all the way down to past Emerald Lane, past Soundview Court. So most of Soundview Drive is included in this. This project will likely go out to bid next year, and hopefully we'll have 1 season of construction is the goal. We don't have funding yet to pave the entire roadway. We've talked about with this, the water main needs to replace 1 travel lane, wherever it's located in the water main. But we're considering trying to find some funds in the general fund to pay for repaving the other side of the road, and then we'd have 1 brand new roadway. So we're working on that part of it right now. Speaking of water in Gig Harbor North, excuse me. This is the new well that we're trying to install in Gig Harbor North, but it takes a very long time to get through it. All the water rights processing. This well, we actually started, we made an application for this well in Gig Harbor North in August of 2000. We still haven't been processed by Department of Ecology. It's a lot that goes into that. I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody, but we now are at a point where we need to get that well in place. And so we're trying to site it, make sure we know exactly where it's going to go. We're going to use a groundwater modeling model that was developed with the USGS and the city and Kitsapple County water purveyors to help with modeling the underground aquifers to prove to ecology and the tribes that we're not going to negatively impact our underground aquifers. And then we hope to have those discussions this year and next year, and possibly drill a well and have that well online in 2025. Yes, Mark. It will how deep is that well? It will probably be about 1,000 feet deep. The new well number 11 is 1,000 feet deep, and or well number 6 and well number 5 are in that range also. Yes, Mark.
Consequently, corollary question, how broad is that, assessment, that modeling, to determine the mass of that?
It is quite broad. If I had time, I'd love to show you what the groundwater images came from when we had that groundwater aquifer modeling. We are getting at that level, that depth, we're getting groundwater flowing in from Hood Canal, Green Mountain, that area. So it's traveling that far to get to us.
The reason I asked that is I used to go to the water resource inventory area, because there weren't enough people to do it. And no one back in the day, like 15, 18 years ago, knew exactly where the water was really coming from. I thought that was a problem. So apparently they're getting more sophisticated.
Yes, Mark was saying that well, back in the day that they didn't really know where the water was coming from, and now we've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort with some high technology or highly technical modeling that USGS has to identify where where that water is coming from and how fast it gets recharged. Because that's the biggest question: is are we pulling out more than it's going in? And that's it. That's it for this story map. That's it for capital projects. I was going to jump into operations, but I'll just say right now that that list you saw there and a couple other projects that we're about ready to embark on soon. We've been able to hire 2 new staff members in engineering. That's the thing that's been always limiting us, is we just don't have enough staff to manage all these projects. We hired 2 more recently. We have possibly the potential to hire 2 more after that. These projects and the next ones coming are about $46 million in capital projects in this 2-year budget. So we have a lot to do, and it's something where we are taking very seriously, trying to make sure that we get all of this done. My screen is hidden behind Zoom, so I'm going to try and get to my next tab. Never been able to figure out. Do you know how to make the?
You want to share a different screen?
No, I just want this to go up. I got to get to the tab that's right there.
Oh,
I don't know.
at the back of your, the 3 dots. And then you can,
I don't know.
yeah, hide your floating. Oh, you like what's.
Thank you. Thank you. I've never known that. All right. So I'm just going to jump into our operations because, like I said, we do capital, we do operations. One of the things that we use once we build these capital projects, we have to hand them off to operations to maintain. One of the things we use is a cartograph asset management. Oops, I'm sorry. Cartograph asset management software. This is something, and it says OpenGov. They just changed their name. I keep forgetting that. This is something that we use routinely. And if you ever go onto our website or you use the app called C-Click Fix and you want to notify us either by phone or the C-Click Fix app, that information automatically gets put into this this cartograph or OpenGov asset management software, and then it comes on our crew. Everyone on our crew now has a tablet, and so they can look at what they're supposed to be doing, what they're supposed to be working on. They update, they see what they need to do, they know what they need, what is entailed in doing that repair work, and then whether it's a pump, or whether it's a street light, whether it's a sign, and then they can go do the maintenance that they need to do, whether that's something that was called in via C-Click Fix, or it's just routine maintenance on a pump. And then they can document it in the cartograph, and it's all there, and the history is collected. And so it's no more 3-ring binders. It's no more, oh yeah, talk to Greg because Greg knew what that looked like, and he probably has a good mental image. Well, Greg retired. So what do we do? So this asset management software helps us bring all of this together. And like I said earlier, it also takes into account all of our vehicles. I could go in and show you all of our assets and you'd be probably bewildered by them. But I'm just going to zoom into a couple of them. These are just some that some of our requests that have come in from the public. Those are just the green dots. Oh, let's see. Trying to something. Oh, there's 2 requests there. Let me see here. See what something says. This was from today. Look at that. Something just came in on a street light. So something was happening on a street light. A street light was out. That's a whole nother issue. We've got some street light issues, so some warranty. But so somebody just reported that today. And so that popped up. So now it's on our work task. And so our crew is going to go out and they're going to go check that out and get it repaired. But you can see right now it says there's 27 open requests in the screen that I have open. And so this is something the crew uses and they can just overgrowth of vegetation. And so we can, if there's anything that goes on, all of our assets, you'd be shocked at how many assets we have, but streetlights, garbage cans, water mains, water valves, water meters, pumps, signals, you name it. It's all there. Our pavement markings that we have in the roadway, we put those on there. So if they get ground out, we know, oh, well, we're supposed to have pavement markings there, and that wasn't put back correctly. So all of this is tracked. And so I use this data. I mean, operations uses it so they can make sure that they do what they need to get done and they can track it. We use this data because if we get in a lawsuit, somebody can say, well, you have never changed that street sign, or you never checked your street sign, and we can say, no, we did. Here it is. Or if somebody damages a traffic signal box, we can document how much time we put all of our time in here, all of our materials in here. We hand that over to the insurance company and we say, here's our invoice. And then we've documented all that. So it's been quite valuable. We've been using this software since about 2007. And so we were one of the first customers to use this, and we've been a partner with Cartograph for quite a while. So that's our operations. And then lastly, I just want to talk, yes.
Not a question, just I've recently had the opportunity to use some quick fix on a few occasions. One was taken care of in a week, I think 1, 2 to 3 weeks. Suggestion perhaps, because it's wonderful, but not everybody knows about it. To the extent that it can be advertised more broadly. Because it's one of those things that the quintessential, or somebody should do something. Well,
Yeah,
see quick fix,
you could do something.
The gigabyte, some place to say, hey folks, just a reminder, this thing is out there. Because as I said, from personal experience, most of them are not, real pressing items. You get them on the
Yeah.
list and they get taken care of in due course. But a lot of people are, oh, that's brilliant. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. All right. I will pass it along. We can push that back out and highlight it more, because I'm honestly, I don't know where it sits on our website. You can use through our website too, but you also have to have an app. Yeah.
Gig Harbor.
Gig Harbor.
When
Yeah.
you go into it, it asks you where are.
Yeah. Right. And it's intended to be used on your phone. So that's a benefit. Speaking of phones, well, the last topic I'll touch on here real quick is a public parking map. This is something that there's been a subcommittee on the Downtown Waterfront Alliance that has been working with, is to identify where in Gig Harbor we have public parking. We're going to add EV charging stations to this, but and it's on my screen, but really the intended use of this is for cell phones. If you were to have your cell phone, and this isn't public yet, it's still in beta and development mode, but we hope to have it out very soon. Be presenting it to council, I think, on Monday. You can identify, I won't do it now, but if I tap on my location when I have my cell phone, it will show you where you are, and it'll show you where the nearest public parking is. And it shows parking lots, it shows ADA stalls in the right of way. And then it also shows, and if you zoom in close enough, you have aerials, and it says marked street stalls and unmarked public parking. So unmarked public parking it's a public street, it's public right of way, but we don't have a marked stall. It might be gravel in front of somebody's house. So people always say, can I park there? It looks like that's their front yard. Well, if it's off the travel lane and there's a place to park, yes, it's public property. But we're going to put EV charging stations on here soon also. And then you can click on these things if you want it. It gives you more information, but yeah, address and everything else. And sometimes how many stalls, but what's one thing we hear of is we don't know where to park. Well, hopefully this will help. Once we get it published, it's going to be on our website. We're going to encourage anybody who has a business to put this link on their website. Again, this is an Esri product, GIS product, and thanks to Mike Simmons for getting this developed. So, and that's what I had. I don't know how do I got. There we go.
You can have your screen.
Yeah, will do. There we go. So that's what I had to present. I'm happy to take any questions. I know that's a lot of information.
Okay. I'm surprised we still have some questions left. Yes, thanks, Jeff, very much for being here. Are there any plans for Crescent Creek, the creek itself, not the park, but in terms of a bridge or anything across rather than the culvert?
Yes, that is in our 6-year capital plan to have that culvert replaced also with a fish passable culvert. It is also a partial fish barrier. Um, we just don't have the funding for it right now. It is identified, I think, 6 years out approximately, but we need to see how we do with the North Creek culvert project. And if we don't get very much federal funding for that, then it will dip into our stormwater funds more. So we'll see how funding goes with that one.
Jeff, thanks for being here. 2 water questions. On piping, what's your sense of water leakage from your freshwater piping around the city? And on the aquifer, when do you expect to have a comprehensive, complete look at the regional aquifer?
Good question. So I'll start with the first one. Our water piping system, that's made up of a variety of pipes, and we have some asbestos cement in there, but we're replacing those. It's generally in good condition. We are replacing all of that asbestos cement, and we hope to be able to get Soundview Drive is one of those. It's AC. We hope to get all of that completed within the next 6 to 8 years. Sorry, what specifically your question? Percent leakage. Yeah, so that we are required to keep it below 6% water loss. And we have been hitting those numbers quite well for quite a while. We were right above 6%, I believe, this last year. We check it every year. We go back and verify. But we think that we were over that water loss, 6% water loss number, because we weren't getting accurate numbers from fire department usage of our fire hydrants, because we have to accommodate for or calculate that into our calculation. And so we go to them and we say, how much water did you guys use when you were, fighting a fire, practicing, whatever? And so we're not sure if that number was skewed. So, but we're roughly about 6%. And then groundwater aquifers. So we have in each one of our wells, we have about 5 active wells. We have probes down in the wells that monitor aquifer levels. My staff is at the end of the summer, we're going to be pulling all that data together and giving a report to council in a study session later this year or early next year, and just identify and show some trends over the past 10, 12 years. What are aquifers? Are they rebounding? Yes, they do drop. Do they rebound in a day, in a week, or in a season? And if they don't rebound all the way back to their original levels after a season, what's that steady decline? So I don't have a good answer for that, but the USGS model gave some hypotheticals, but it didn't go into detail of how long will these aquifers be able to maintain it.
Jeff, I've been weaseling my way into rooms full of engineers for years. And one of the rooms I've got is a Zoom room where self-driving vehicles are being discussed by civil engineers around the nation. And I've come to believe in the last year or so that we're only about 5 years away, and not more than 10, from a predominance of self-driving vehicles. And the reason I think that is because they're already being tested in business parks and downtowns and on college campuses all around the nation. And they seem to be working. And as AI improves, that's only going to become more significant. And by the time quantum computing connects to AI, I don't think we're gonna be allowed to drive our cars at all. So what's your view of that in terms of transportation plan?
Well, our intent in our transportation plan is to just keep building within the federal requirements, and then the AI and the self-driving cars will fit into that. So there's some things that we need to make sure we do to probably improve that a little. Striping, I mean, we restripe our arterial roadways every year. We don't stripe or restripe our local or residential roadways. I'm not sure how AI is going to interact with that. So it's more to come and see what we hear back from these developers to hear if they need more infrastructure like striping for the vehicles to be able to identify where they are in the travel lane.
Okay. Time for one more question here.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, for being here. Say, with respect to the Morgan Boulevard overpass over Highway 16, at one time WasDOT was thinking about taking out the pedestrian passage there to add another lane and then build a footbridge just north of that, I believe. Is that still in their consideration plan at all? You know,
It is not. The city put that into our transportation plan a while ago. It is a capital project in our transportation plan. WashDOT, they have a lot of priorities. They focus on what's the main line look like? What does Highway 16 travel lanes look like? If the main line's doing okay, everything else is a city problem. We actually do a lot of the maintenance, except for the structures, the bridge itself. We maintain the striping, the surfacing in WashDOT right of way, because that's left up to the cities. And so if traffic is bad on the city streets around their interchange, that's up to the city to maintain. So we put that into our capital plan. We still have it so that we possibly would take out the sidewalk to create one more travel lane and then build that overpass. I can tell you, we looked as part of the Cushman Trail Phase 5 study of building an pedestrian overpass over Borgen Boulevard. You know, Borgen Boulevard is big, but it's not really that big compared to Highway 16. Just to build a pedestrian overpass over Borgen Boulevard was $5 million. We anticipate that if you build the pedestrian overpass over Highway 16, it's going to be closer to 50 million. So it's a very expensive project for, you have to compare that to what the benefit would be.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jeff. Can we give him a round of applause? Thank you.
Everything is done.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I see, Dan, would you like to give us an update on what's happening with Peninsula School District?
Certainly, John. Thank you. And Jeff, thank you very much. We enjoy our collaborative work with the city that we do. Jeff and I and several others have been working to mitigate some traffic things that are associated with some of our buildings. And so we appreciate that partnership. And we look forward to the potential of when the sports complex goes in, doing some work with you on that as well. Not a lot to share. We had a big fishbowl game Friday. Gig Harbor High School was able to break a 7-year streak. There was a little excitement on digging into that event, and so we'll keep you abreast of that. The one thing I would like to share with you is on October 2nd, we are having a college and career fair. It'll be held at the Tom Taylor YMCA. We've done that by school before, basically Gig Harbor High School holding like a college fair and Peninsula holding a college fair. And we would get 30 to 40 colleges around there. Doing it on one day together at Tom Taylor Y, we're looking at close to 70 colleges and other vendors coming in. So that's an exciting thing. We're inviting all 6th through 12th graders. Used to be a high school thing, but we're going to bleed that down to the middle school. And so we're really looking forward to that. It won't be just colleges. It'll be career and technical schools. It'll be apprenticeship opportunities. And I'm going to do a little plug here. We're going to have our own HR booth there as well, because we're still looking to fill positions like bus drivers and paraeducators. And so you're all invited to that. Again, it'll be October 2nd. I believe it starts at 5:30 at the Tom Taylor YMCA. And we're just looking forward to that. And again, we're looking forward to it because we're pushing both of those events together and making one big event out of it. And that's about it for today. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Dan. Kurt, Penn Met Parks.
Thank you, John. Well, the next two big community events coming up at Met Parks at Azamo are going to be the Scarecrow Festival. That's coming up here on October 7th, Saturday from 11 to 4. It always has a huge fun turnout. The kids just love it. We have the pumpkin launch going on there. And then we'll have cookies with Mr. and Mrs. Claus coming up in December. And then if you've been by the indoor recreation facility that we're building right now, all the heavy equipment is out there. They're getting ready. They're digging the channels to put in the foundation for the new building. The existing building is just about done, and that'll be the headquarters for Penn Met Parks. We've already got fencing around the little putt course, which we're going to be fully restoring. So, and we'll start bringing the Cushman Trail all the way through that property and connect it to the overpass over Highway 16. So thank you, John.
How about next week?
Oh, next week. Next week we're having Dave Montour here, who is the owner of the Kettlefish restaurants, and he's going to be sharing us some of the stories about opening that restaurant. They also have a location in Silverdale, and some upcoming events that they're going to be organizing and helping out here in the community.
Thank you. Miriam, give us a chamber update.
And remember, for the first Thursday in October, we're going to be at Latitude 47 rather than here. So it's going to be an on-site public affairs forum. So be sure to set your reminders and everything you need to do. And we'll try to push those reminders out to everybody as well, that it'll be at that location. And they are trying to arrange for some tours of some of the other buildings that have been already built out. And so you can get kind of an idea of what it can look like for businesses coming into that area. So that's pretty fun. Yeah, they're going to be catering breakfast and the whole thing. You're all about the food, Kurt. So, yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So I, share with your friends and, bring spouses or partners or whatever, and we'll have a really good time that day, and that's going to be October 5th. The October 5th luncheon for the chamber is our board installation, where we say goodbye to 4 outgoing board members and the 4 that are coming in. There's one incumbent, so she's rejoining board, so technically 5 that were recently elected. And so you get to hear from our board chair that is kind of doing his farewell address, and then the incoming chair, some of the initiatives that he is aiming for this coming year. Tonight starts the film festival. And if you haven't already gotten your general admission tickets, Tina has the booklets in the back with the program. So be sure to go to Uptown Galaxy Theater, get your general admission ticket. That's where you buy them, and it should be a really fun time. Excited about that. And I think that's about it for our news. This is after hours, October 10th. Yes. Okay. October 10th. It's actually going to have an October Fest theme to the business after hours, and it's going to be at Heron's Key. They have an amazing chef as well. I mean, the chef here is fantastic. But Heron's Key also has a really good chef. It's going to have a vibe of Oktoberfest. So I would guess beers and brats, maybe. Yeah, we'll find out. But it should be really good. It should be a great time getting to see them again. Katie, anything else we're missing? Okay, we're great. Thank you again to Peninsula Light Company for sponsoring this event, and have a great week.